A new role-playing video game that is leaving nothing to the imagination. Mass Effect. Pandora's box is open.
This is when the developing mind is happening. This is when they don't show women as being valued as
completely incorrect. First of all, you can actually
not tell the difference between what they're seeing in a video game and.
I just last week bought Princess Enchanted Brides. I'm not gonna let Mass Effect in my house.
Cooper, have you ever played Mass Effect?
Meet Commander Shepard.
I'm Commander Shepard.
Commander Shepard exists in a wonderful world called Mass Effect. In the world of Mass Effect, Commander Shepard can achieve a great many things. Isn't that right, buddy?
I'm Commander Shepard.
We'll work on that. Shepard fights, dances, takes his Cybertruck out for a spin, participate in hate speech,
because it's a big, stupid jellyfish,
or even falls in love. And Shepard does all the things you do when in love. Flirting.
A few casualties is a small price to pay to stop someone like that.
Words of affirmation.
So, you still interested in me? Baggage and all?
Dismissed, Chief.
And the smooching. Good job, buddy. You did it.
I'm Commander Shepard.
Unfortunately for Shepard, his smooches came with setbacks. Setbacks that would ignite the world and spark outrage of disastrous proportions. But first. Another frigid day on the mountains of Nordway. What to watch on this icy peak. Ugh, I stepped in something. If only I could watch the real Cowboy Bebop. Oh my god, what's that? On Mount Fuji. It's beautiful. If only I had a reliable VPN service. This video is sponsored by NordVPN. Thanks to NordVPN bankrolling my unhealthy consumption of Japanese animation, I can now watch my favorite shows that silly old Uncle Sam doesn't like. Wow. NordVPN has servers around the world just waiting for you to connect. Why, I'm actually writing this from France. So let's say bonjour, je m'appelle Default Cheesecake, to Nord's huge discount on a 2-year plan plus 4 additional bonus months. Oh my god. You can use my URL, nordvpn.com/cheesecake, to get your best possible deal. Nice. Did you just say you don't like spending money? Well, NordVPN has a 30-day money-back guarantee, you silly goose! NordVPN also has a strict no-logging policy, which not only means they're anti-deforestation, but they also don't track or collect your private data. And I like my private data. If you want access to region-locked content or just more security when you browse the internet, then look no further than NordVPN. If you want to support the channel so I don't go Nordless on the streets, then use my link, nordvpn.com/cheesecake. For a huge discount on a 2-year plan plus 4 additional bonus months. And if you don't like it, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. I can't stop connecting around the world. I'm Nording all the time. Nording here, I'm Nording there. You can Nord everywhere with NordVPN. Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. Now let's see how Shepard smooches caused a media disaster. Mass Effect released in 2007, a year in which the discourse of video games in mainstream media was a little more dramatic.
I know that when I say this, about 80% of the people in America that hear me are going, oh, geez, here's a crazy conservative on TV screaming about the dangers of video games. We are training our kids to be killers.
This was a time rife with controversies of hyperbolic proportions. Do you want your kids to become a violent psychopath? Then play some GTA. Want your kids to worship Satan? Then play Pokemon.
Pokemon World is a world of the demonic.
But there was nothing that ruffled the jimmies of the masses like some good old-fashioned romance. Kissing. A consensual platonic side hug. Maybe a little... It's this word, you know what I'm trying to say. YouTube doesn't like it, sorry. The media love to latch on to any hint of unsavory coupling in video games. Grand Theft Auto has a mod that looks like 2 triangles rubbing against each other. Blasphemy. You can romance Bastila and Knights of the Old Republic. But think of the children! While I may be a YouTuber, I'm not a YouTuber if you know what I mean. So no, I will not think of the children while I romance someone, thank you very much. Numerous legislative attempts were made to limit provocative content in video games, like the eloquently named Protect Children from Violent Game Sex and Violence Act of 2003. Couldn't have just called it like Go Outside Act or something? This was the world Mass Effect was pushed into. A world that would sniff out any hint of lewd content and be propped up as the newest scapegoat. Mass Effect releases and enjoys a brief period of success. But as with most things in life, the higher you climb, the farther you can fall. And there were plenty of eyes ready to watch. Soon people began to poke around this brand new game and see if there was anything that could harm the children of the world. No. Nah, that ain't gonna do it. No. Wait! Oh my God. We got us a story now. But in order to blow the lid on this smut simulator, someone had to lead the charge. Enter stage Cooper Lawrence. A legend in the gaming world and an expert on all things gaming, video games, and gamers. With such industry-defining works of gaming journalism under her belt like The Cult of Perfection, Making Peace with Your Inner Overachiever.
Been there, done that, and kept the jewelry. Find true love. Turn your tarnished dating past into a brilliant romantic future.
And The Fixer-Upper Man. Convert your dud into a stud.
What is this, high school?
In fact, according to Cooper herself, the only knowledge she had of Mass Effect was that she heard some random person say it was like pornography. A perfect pundit indeed. The last thing we needed to run this story was someone with opposing viewpoints to Cooper. That way we maintain a plausible mirage of journalistic equity. No. What about this guy? He looks like a normal white-collar man that shouldn't give Cooper too much trouble. With all the pieces of the puzzle assembled, it was finally time to ruin Mass Effect for their crimes once and for all. And, this story went just as well as you'd think it would.
Leaving nothing to the imagination. Mass Effect is what it's called. It's made for Microsoft's Xbox system, and it features in some parts of this, you'll see full digital nudity. The person who's playing the game gets to decide exactly what's going to happen between the two people, if you know what I mean.
Let's talk about who the video game is for. It might be for adults, but if you look at the statistics, who's playing video games but adolescent males, not their dads. And here's how they're seeing women. They're seeing them as these objects of desire, as these, hot bodies. I mean, they don't show women as being valued for anything other than their sexuality. And it's a man in this game deciding how many women he wants to be with. Boys that play video games cannot tell the difference between what they're seeing in a video game in the real world if they don't have a real experience.
What happened to Atari and pinball and Pac-Man?
Those were some pretty bold claims. Jeff, what do you have to say?
But adolescent males, not their dad.
That's completely incorrect.
Boys that play video games cannot tell the difference.
That's completely incorrect. It's sort of a choose-your-own-adventure story. It's just like modeling your life, and I think that's much more powerful. Alien boob.
Cooper and Fox's arguments instantly crumbled under the smallest of pushback. However, it's in this moment that any credibility Cooper had, any shred of hope the story had of being remotely trustworthy, evaporated in an instant.
Game Cooper, have you ever played Mass Effect?
No.
I can't do it. The cringe. The shoddy journalism. It's too much. Regardless of what your political leanings were at the time, everyone could agree that this was objectively bad journalism. A complete lack of research to back any of their claims, showing blatant favoritism for one side to the extent that Jeff's cut off when making valid points, or doing Jeff's work for him by contradicting your own points.
Full digital nudity. Mass Effect is being marketed to kids and to teenagers. They're going to find ways to see this stuff on the internet. Now the game is rated M for mature game, and I'm amazed at just the artistry and what it looks like. The box and look at the back for the rating, and then you have to be involved in what your kids are looking at.
I've had enough of your disingenuous assertions.
It was high production value rage bait and fear mongering at its finest, or worst. The sheer lack of preparation and excessive condescending hand-waving of counter-arguments is nuts. I mean, how could you not know that Jeff Keighley was gonna throw hands? The man's name is Jeff with a G. G-offs are a different breed. But thanks to the gift of hindsight, we can look back at this story and laugh. Even someone with a tertiary knowledge of video games could tell that this was blown way out of proportion. However, this is a perspective of someone who actually plays video games. And at the time of this segment, they were the minority viewership. Believe it or not, people started to actually believe Cooper's narrative that Mass Effect was destroying the youth of America.
There's a new best-selling video game called Mass Effect. It allows the characters to engage in explicitly graphic sexual intercourse. You may not know as a parent sometimes what you're getting these kids.
With misinformation quickly spreading, the Mass Effect fans fought back the only way that felt right, by fighting fire with fire. The first on the front lines are the video replies.
Alright, I've just rewatched this whole Fox News report on Mass Effect.
In which they did nothing but spew misinformation and lies about the game title.
And it's amazing how folks can comment on Mass Effect, but
Cooper Lawrence, who happily admitted to never playing the game herself.
Because they have an opportunity to let their aggressions out in the game instead of in real life.
I've seen every sex scene there is.
They even got Shepard to give his 2 cents by blowing up Fox. After a verbal thrashing, the journalists soon joined the dog pile.
When Stupid Attacks Jeff Keighley participated in Angry Gamers Strike Back at Fox News expert, Mass Effect, Fox News and EA debate. News follows Mass Effect bashing with some of its own.
And in the days to come, there was a parody.
My teenage daughter played this game and now she's 6 months pregnant.
And another. Some more digging revealed that this wasn't even the first time Mass Effect was attacked by this crowd for the exact same thing. Days before this segment aired, a blogger echoed similar sentiments and coined a term that I'm going to call HD humping. What am I doing with my life? Word of this dumpster fire of journalism was spreading fast. You could feel the vitriol seething from the webcams and keyboards. All of this admittedly justified anger was spewed with no target though. Try as they may, Fox News was too big and frankly didn't care enough for any sort of community action to have real consequences. The fans needed a lightning rod to channel their rage. Someone that could actually crumble under the pressure. So they turned their head towards the most vocal, ill-informed critic of this entire debacle. Jeff Keighley. See, I told you can't trust Geoffs. Just kidding, it was Cooper. The Mass Effect fans brainstormed for a while on the best way to get back at Cooper for her false reporting. What should we do, they pondered.
we kidnap her.
What? No, let's save that for when we do real estate.
What to do? Well, remember how the host mentioned that Cooper was an author?
Ecology specialist, radio talk show host, and the author of...
And just released a brand new book?
The new book, The Cult of Perfection.
Bingo. Their revenge was going to be as swift as it was petty. Thousands of Mass Effect fans start review bombing Cooper's book on Amazon. Is review bombing a bit of an overreaction? Yes, but think about it from the perspective of those who played Mass Effect. The general public is being fed blatant lies about your favorite game. Your entire demographic is completely misrepresented as ignorant, horned-up man-children, and the only person who could have actually represented you was shut down without a second thought. Things were about to get messy. And admittedly, some of these reviews were pretty funny. I never read this book, but I can sure tell you it's vile and should never be around my children. I'm gonna write some stuff down and try to sound smart. Waste of time. Just a terrible book. Lies! Cooper was facing a full frontal review assault. The #1 tag for her book was ignorant, which was closely followed up by hypocrisy. Fitting. People post videos rallying the troops to send even more 1-star reviews. Things got so bad that when you looked up Cooper's book on Amazon, one of the top results was Mass Effect. Amazon tried deleting the 1-star reviews, which of course was met with fanfare by the community.
Every single book of hers has a glorious 1-star rating.
It's all
But it was futile. The horde had been unleashed. Eventually, word had spread far enough that EA released a scathing public statement demanding that Fox News retract their statements. EA says that no, you cannot see Liara from the front, and if you do, you gotta buy her dinner. No, this game is not for kids. It says M right on the cover, which stands for maybe you should do your research next time. They even said Mass Effect features less lewd content than an episode of Family Guy, which was also aired on Fox. Fox News catches wind of this little letter, and instead of apologizing for spreading misinformation, they pull a cash cab and ask EA if they want to go double or nothing on a video bonus question by sending an EA representative to discuss the issue live on air. EA of course declined, and Fox has still never formally apologized for this story. Cooper could not say the same though. She was still getting absolutely flamed online. Her new book had gone from an average rating of 4 stars prior to the segment to a dismal 1-star aggregate score. Before the story aired, her book ranked number 185,719 in sales. Not great, I know, but not as bad as number 478,481 after the story aired. And the 1-star reviews just kept pouring in. Pushed into a corner, she had no choice but to reflect on her statements. She looked at the tremendous backlash she had received and decided to give Mass Effect a second chance. Not by playing it, of course, that would be too hard, but by watching someone else play it for a couple hours. At the end of her vigorous secondhand gaming session, she had come to a conclusion.
Maybe.
She even said that Mass Effect was no more spicy than an episode of Lost. One, albeit minuscule, silver lining for Cooper was that her book did enjoy a brief spike in sales following this whole conundrum. It peaked at number 69,725 on Amazon. But this, and I'm going to use heavy air quotes here, uptick was born of spite and short-lived as her book gradually faded into literary obscurity mere days later. Any momentum or success her book could have had was effectively hijacked by the Mass Effect conundrum and fizzled out. Even today, you can still find comments on her work fueled by the very salt she poured into the community's wounds. But like 10 years later, oh my god, please let it go. Her last connection to the Mass Effect franchise that I could find was Geoff Keighley, being the true gentle sir and tomfoolery enjoyer he is, offered Cooper the chance to speak with him about Mass Effect 2 when it released. I'll give you one guess what she said.
Hell no.
You may think that a story as erroneous as this would die down in a month or so, the only tangible impact being a few pearls clutched here and there. After all, what would BioWare have to fear moving forward with their new franchise anyway? Their publisher was on their side, as was the entire fan base. The only people that believed this story were severely out-of-touch boomers, which, let's face it, were probably not going to buy Mass Effect anyway unless it sold reverse mortgages.
Then I can come build you that house on the homeworld.
Well, this story impacted the most important thing that every successful artist needs to thrive: creative freedom. Yes, you could argue that any publicity is good publicity and that this did increase Mass Effect sales, but there's no price worth paying at the cost of your creativity. Because of the outrage, in the sequel there were some alterations made. Many of the romance scenes were toned down, much to this man's dismay. Unless you chose Miranda, the most romantic that Shepard gets is some light fade-to-black kissing, and a couch scene that reeks of middle school dance energy. I guess Jacob takes his shirt off, but it's Jacob. Who the f is choosing Jacob anyway? The number of romance options were altered too. Jack was originally planned as a romanceable character for a female Shepard. She even explicitly states that she's been down that road before, and has no problem with it.
When I was starting out, I ran with this girl Manara and her boyfriend. They knew their way around. I thought they'd help me. Right. They helped me into their bed.
So there is an established backstory that would make pursuing this option as a female player make sense. But nope, in Mass Effect 2 you're doomed to gal pal status. It made so little sense for her character that a mod is made right after release that allows for it. If you want to roleplay as a female Shepard that has a girl crush, your only options are Samara, who hits you with the "it's not you, it's me" being almost 1,000 years old, Morinth, who kills you with death by nut, or Kelly. And Kelly is boring. For male Shepard, BioWare had planned on making Jacob a potential romance option, but this was also scrapped late into development over similar fears of controversy. Which is hilarious to me because no one had a problem with f***ing the raptor alien with Spy Kid glasses. So pick and choose your battles, I guess. It's just a shame that a role-playing game had to stifle what roles you could actually play. In the end though, it would be BioWare that had the last laugh, because in Fox News' now defunct video game review series, they had this to say about Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2 is packed with more weapons, better action, tougher choices, and major consequences. Gamers' Weekly verdict: buy it.
What's the takeaway from a story like this? What sort of lessons can we as a community and as a people glean from the echoes of past mistakes? Perhaps it's to conduct your research and ascertain arguments from both perspectives. Maybe it's to let cooler heads prevail in times of melodramatic sensationalism. No, it's none of those things. It's why can't I romance Morden?